The final hours of 2025 in a Los Angeles apartment complex were meant for celebration, a time when families and friends gathered to welcome a new year with hope and joy. The air was filled with laughter, the glow of holiday lights, and the anticipation of midnight fireworks. For many, it was a rare moment to pause and reflect, to cherish loved ones, and look forward to new beginnings. But the night took a terrifying turn, shattering the peace that had settled over the neighborhood. In an instant, the festive mood was replaced by confusion and fear, as an unexpected and violent disturbance erupted outside. As families gathered, the festive sounds were suddenly drowned out by the sharp, unmistakable crack of a rifle. The noise cut through the music and laughter, leaving a chilling silence in its wake as people tried to make sense of what was happening. Panic swept through the Northridge neighborhood as a resident began firing a high-powered weapon into the night sky. The echo of gunshots reverberated between the apartment buildings, sending shockwaves of terror through every home. The joy of New Year's Eve was instantly replaced by fear, as bullets rained unpredictably over the community. People scrambled for safety, unsure where the next shot might land or who might be in danger. Residents dove for cover, locking doors and turning off lights, their sense of safety shattered. The familiar comfort of home was suddenly transformed into a place of uncertainty as families huddled together in the darkness, listening for any sign that the danger had passed. Frantic calls flooded emergency lines as terrified residents pleaded for help, their voices trembling with fear and disbelief. Police and first responders raced to the scene, their sirens piercing the night as they tried to restore order and protect the community. The shooter, a neighbor, fired indiscriminately, each shot a potential tragedy for anyone nearby or blocks away. The randomness of the violence left everyone feeling vulnerable, as if nowhere was truly safe. The close-knit community was transformed into a zone of chaos, neighbors now united by fear. People who had once greeted each other with smiles now exchanged anxious glances, bonded by a shared sense of dread. Instead of counting down to midnight, families huddled together, praying for the danger to pass. Parents tried to comfort their children, whispering reassurances they barely believed themselves as the minutes dragged on. The relentless gunfire marked the end of the year with terror, leaving everyone on edge, uncertain of what would come next. What should have been a night of celebration became a haunting memory, a stark reminder of how quickly peace can be shattered. Northridge, a diverse Los Angeles neighborhood, was thrown into crisis as gunfire erupted in a densely populated apartment complex. The shooter's reckless act turned a place of safety into a danger zone, with bullets threatening not just those nearby, but anyone in the area. Apartment walls offered little protection. The risk extended far beyond the shooter's line of sight. Residents, unsure of the shooter's location or intent, were paralyzed by fear. The design of apartment living, meant to foster community, now magnified the threat. One neighbor described hearing over 10 shots in rapid succession, a barrage that left no doubt about the seriousness of the situation. The community was held hostage by one man's actions, their safety hanging in the balance as midnight approached. The sense of sanctuary was gone, replaced by a desperate hope for survival. Among the residents of the quiet apartment complex was an off-duty ICE agent, a man who had spent years preparing for the unexpected, but who, like everyone else, hoped for nothing more than a peaceful evening at home. He was unwinding after a long day, expecting the familiar comfort of routine, maybe a favorite show, a warm meal, and the distant hum of city life outside his window. But suddenly, the sharp crack of gunfire shattered the calm. Instinctively, his training took over. He recognized the sound immediately and knew that this was no ordinary disturbance. The threat was real, and it was dangerously close. Unlike his neighbors, who might freeze or hide in fear, he understood the gravity of the situation. The shooter wasn't a faceless intruder, but a fellow resident, someone who lived among them, whose footsteps he might have heard in the hallway before. The realization made the situation even more volatile. This wasn't just a random act of violence, it was a personal crisis, erupting from within the very heart of their community. The sense of safety that everyone took for granted was suddenly gone. From his vantage point, the agent could see the chaos unfolding, flashing lights outside, neighbors peering anxiously through their blinds, the distant wail of sirens growing louder. He was already on the scene, witnessing the crisis as it happened, not as a bystander but as someone with the skills and responsibility to intervene. Every shot echoed through the walls, each one a chilling reminder of the danger. He could hear the fear in the voices of families huddled together, sensed the urgency in the air, and knew that dozens of innocent lives were at risk. The decision before him was agonizing. Should he remain sheltered inside, protecting himself and his loved ones, or should he step into the unknown to protect his neighbors, risking everything in the process? The proximity of the threat made the choice even more difficult. This wasn't just another assignment or a distant emergency. It was his own home, his own community, and the people he saw every day who were now in danger. As he prepared himself, the weight of his duty pressed heavily on his shoulders. The sense of responsibility he felt was overwhelming. He knew that his actions in the next few moments could mean the difference between life and death for his neighbors. With resolve hardening in his chest, he approached his door, knowing that the decision he made now would define not only his own fate, but the fate of his entire community. For law enforcement, duty doesn't end with the workday. The off-duty ICE agent knew waiting for police could cost lives, so he chose to act. Confronting an armed neighbor was a risk few would take, but his training and sense of responsibility left him no choice. He left the safety of his apartment determined to protect his community. His federal training prepared him for high-stress, life-or-death scenarios, skills no one else in the complex had. ICE agents are sworn law enforcement officers, trained for violent situations, and on this night, that training was needed at home. The agent's decision was not just about his oath, but about being a neighbor willing to defend others. He stepped into the courtyard, ready to face the threat directly. His actions would soon determine the fate of everyone in the complex. The agent moved tactically through the darkness, every sense heightened by the tension in the air. Each step was measured, his training guiding him as he advanced through the shadowy corridors of the apartment complex. The only sounds were the distant hum of city life and the soft crunch of gravel beneath his boots. He scanned the area, methodically searching for the armed man while constantly considering the safety of everyone nearby. The presence of frightened residents peering from behind curtains and the anxious whispers of bystanders reminded him of the stakes. Every decision could mean the difference between life and death for innocent people. Finally, he spotted the shooter. With his weapon drawn, the agent confronted the suspect, likely issuing clear, firm commands to drop the weapon, hoping above all for a peaceful surrender. The tension was palpable, the world seeming to hold its breath in those crucial seconds. But the gunman refused to comply. Instead, he turned his weapon toward the agent, escalating the danger and forcing the situation into a deadly standoff. The agent's heart pounded as he realized the threat was now immediate and unavoidable. In a split second, an exchange of gunfire erupted. The agent was forced to make a life-or-death decision, relying on his instincts and years of training. Bullets tore through the night, each one a potential end to a life, each one a desperate attempt to protect the innocent. The confrontation was swift and intense. The agent's training took over as he moved decisively to neutralize the threat. In those moments, there was no time for hesitation, only action, driven by duty and the will to survive. Suddenly, the terrifying sound of rifle fire was replaced by a heavy, almost surreal silence. The chaos faded, leaving only the echo of what had just transpired. The immediate danger was over. The man who had terrorized the neighborhood was no longer a threat. Officers quickly moved in to secure the scene, checking for any further risks and ensuring the safety of the residents. The agent's actions, born of necessity and courage, had ended the violence. His bravery under pressure had protected countless lives, but the weight of what had happened was only beginning to settle in. For the agent, the community, and the family of the deceased, the consequences of that night were only beginning. The emotional aftermath would ripple through everyone involved, leaving questions, grief, and a search for understanding. The community, shaken but safe, would soon face the aftermath, coming together to process the trauma and support one another in the days ahead. The agent's intervention had prevented a far greater tragedy, and while the scars of that night would remain, so too would the gratitude of those whose lives he had saved. After the shooting, the agent's first move was to call 911, following protocol and ensuring help was on the way. He reported the incident, explained the circumstances, and waited for police and medical teams to arrive. His actions were measured and professional, both during and after the confrontation. The Department of Homeland Security later confirmed the agent acted defensively, not as an aggressor. His use of force was a last resort, taken to protect lives endangered by the gunman's reckless violence. The agent's calm under pressure was crucial in preventing further tragedy. Without his intervention, the gunman could have continued firing, risking more lives. The agent's quick thinking and training contained the threat, saving countless others. His response was a textbook example of courage and professionalism. Sirens soon filled the night as LAPD and paramedics arrived at the complex. Officers secured the area, established a perimeter, and began clearing the scene for safety. Paramedics pronounced the gunman dead. Fortunately, no other residents were harmed. The LAPD launched a thorough investigation, collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses. The off-duty ICE agent remained on scene, fully cooperating with detectives. Residents, still shaken, recounted the terrifying ordeal to investigators. The investigation aimed to reconstruct every detail, from the gunman's motives to the agent's actions. The community, though traumatized, began the slow process of recovery. In the days that followed, the off-duty ICE agent received praise from officials and the Department of Homeland Security. DHS commended his bravery, emphasizing that he acted decisively to protect lives. The public recognition affirmed that his actions were not just justified, but heroic. The agent's willingness to risk his own safety for others became a powerful example of duty and courage. The story resonated widely, reminding people of the unpredictable dangers law enforcement faces, even off-duty. It also highlighted the human side of federal agents' neighbors willing to protect their communities. The agent's actions stood as a testament to the character expected of those who serve. The events of that New Year's Eve in Northridge are a lesson in courage and the fragility of safety. True bravery is acting despite fear, and the off-duty agent's sense of duty overrode his instinct for self-preservation. His actions show how one person's courage can stand against chaos and violence. Emergencies can strike anywhere, even in moments of celebration, and the agent's readiness made all the difference. The story is a sobering reminder of the dangers posed by firearms in the wrong hands. The LAPD's investigation continues, seeking answers, but the agent's intervention ensured many families saw the new year unharmed. Heroes aren't just in stories, they're neighbors, ready to answer the call when it matters most. The legacy of that night is one of courage, community, and the enduring importance of vigilance.